Hello, my name is Gini Helms,
And I'm Chris Helms.
and this is 2020 OWCP Wednesday Night Chats.
Remember the old 2020 shows?
Yeah.
She was watching that on YouTube and said, I'm going to play this. I said, oh, God, please don't.
I could play it right now.
But we said it.
So, hello everybody, I'm Jeannie and this is Chris, and we are the hosts, and you guys say what? The stars of Wednesday night OWCP chats. And yes, I'm the girl that calls you when you're calling by cell. That's me.
And I'm that guy that sits next to her.
So before we begin, we want everyone to share this with 10 of your friends.
10 shares.
And don't forget to tell them they must like and follow the page in order to get our notifications every week. And this is our new 2020 edition of Wednesday night OWCP chats. Due to the holidays, we only did, I think, maybe like one or two. And I hope everybody had a great holiday. And we know there was a boatload of injuries, and we are going to help you get through and past all of that and go in a positive direction in OWCP and filing your injuries.
Yeah, and get them accepted.
So, with that said, tonight we're going to go over the CA10, the CA1, CA1, CA2, CA16, CA17, and the CA7, how to get paid.
Get your pens and paper out.
So
you're going to need to take some notes.
Make sure you guys are watching and listening clearly to when we're going over all this, because Chris will be answering most of your questions. As you guys will be popping up with the questions, he'll be answering them as well. So be patient and see if he answers the questions. And if it's about your personal claim, message us. Just message us, because we try to keep everything so only us and you know what's really going on.
So it's private. It's private. But if you have a question and you think the answer might help everybody, that's fine. But if there's something specific to you that will only help you, I'm happy to do that, and I want to help you. So send us a message on Facebook and let us connect with you later after this. So
with that said, I did attach a copy of the CA10 onto the last post that I posted on all the Facebook pages today. So you could follow along, or if you want and you're sitting in front of a computer and having your phone watching us, you can also go on to www.federalinjurycenters.com, go into the red tab that says forms, and follow along with us.
OWCP forms is what it says.
All
OWCP
right.
forms.
So with that said, let's get started. So this is a 2-hour special because there's so much to go over. So we're going to get started, go right into the CA10. Why it's important that you have this and pass it out and put it on your bulletin boards.
So 2 hours is actually nothing. I've done it for 8 hours before. There's a lot to cover. It's not too late. Share with your friends right now. I want you to go ahead and send some text messages, some emails, phone calls, smoke signals. If you have those 2 cans with a line in between it, call your friend. Get people on watching this show. Tell them to go to Wednesday Night OWCP Chats on Facebook. Let them know that's the name of the page, Wednesday Night OWCP Chats. You should know that because you're here. But we really need to get more people watching this. It's not for me, it's for you. Let me explain. In 2018, 1 out of 13 federal employees had an accepted claim.
Yep.
In 2019, did I say 18?
18.
2018, 1 out of 13. 2019, it got worse. It was 1 out of 15. Nobody would argue that the injury rate got lower. Nobody would say that the jobs got easier and that weights were not as heavy, walking distances weren't as far. Obviously the job didn't get easier. And so what happened? Well, a combination of things. One, not enough of you are educated in OWCP. In spite of our best efforts being here every week teaching this, in spite of us going to state conventions and local union meetings and getting the word out through word of mouth as much as we can, there's still not nearly enough of you that are watching this information, getting it, retaining it, even remembering any of it. And so some of you still don't know what to do when you get hurt. The rest of you are still going to the wrong doctors. It's really not your fault, usually. There's not enough of them. We're working on it. And then there's still some others of you that let your supervisors give you bad information, generally on purpose. It shocks me that we'll still get people that call us and say, "No, that's not what my supervisor said." I mean, look, if you have a choice between them and me or her, believe us. We're always going to steer you in the right direction. And so you're getting claims denied or you're not getting claims initiated. In any case, 1 out of 15 is worse than 1 out of 13. It's getting worse for you. And nobody's ever made the effort that we're making to teach you. This has never happened before. So we've been doing this now live for 2 years.
Almost 2 years. And we're not charging your credit cards while doing it.
For those of you that are new and you're wondering what the catch is, the only
no
catch is that you got to sit here and listen.
Just watch it.
So we need you to be paying attention, but we need you sharing. You need to let more people know this is happening, because if you wait till you're injured to get the information, it's too late.
Yep.
You already start losing benefits. Supervisors already get the upper hand on you in a really bad way. And these are things we can avoid and we can help with. So tonight, I'm going to go back through and do a very thorough training in what to do when you're hurt at work and what these forms are. Like, what does all this stuff mean? What are the pitfalls you can run into? What are your supervisors going to tell you that will definitely be false?
Yeah.
And those things that they tell you that are not true badly, negatively impact your OWCP claim and your chance of getting an accepted case. So, I'm going to have to shift. I've been saying 1 out of 13 people. Well, it's 1 out of 15. This is bad. And so this applies to you. So if you're watching this and you haven't gotten hurt before, that's excellent. If you're a new person, you're an RCA or something like that, and you're brand new to this, you're like, this doesn't apply to me. Listen, I've seen carriers on their first or second day get hurt. So you never know when it's going to happen. We're not advocating for you to get hurt. We don't want anybody to get hurt. Just, if we could teach you to work safely, we would, but it's hard to do on this video. Unfortunately, you're on the clock, you're timed, you're lifting heavy packages. Some of them are awkward. You're walking a long way, and eventually you get hurt. And some of these things develop over 20 or more years, and there's a way to get help for that. So pay attention and let your friends know. There's a lot of people jumping on right now. We appreciate that. I'm not going to keep wasting time. I'm letting more people get on. But you got to understand that's the problem that we're trying to solve. The problem is you can't get a claim accepted. And when you get going and your claim doesn't get accepted, you're pissed, okay? And you should be. But I can stop most of those denials just by teaching you this stuff. So pay attention tonight, but share. Continually share. She said let 10 people know. That's exactly right. There's 2.8 million federal employees. We ought to be able to get 500,000 of them watching this at any given time. So everybody there is responsible for sharing.
Yeah, share it to your Facebook groups, because as you see, I'm trying to go, that's what I'm doing here, is like I'm sharing. So if I miss some, that's okay. Share it to your page, because we always say every single person nationwide knows at least one federal employee. And who is that? It is your male guy or male lady or male dog. So you guys could pass the message on and say, hey, you look like you're injured. I mean, my male guy, his leg was messed up, and he didn't take the advice until later he figured out who I was. So it's good just to share it if you're just regular family and friends of ours, because somebody knows somebody down the road that may get injured. We handle all the injuries in your LLVs and your federal cars that you drive, the ones that says government. We handle and help with those. We see you for those. Chris has trained multiple doctors nationwide, so when we don't have a place to send you and there isn't one that we can't help you find on ACS, we'll send you to one that he's trained.
We don't send them.
Well, it's your choice.
We'll make a recommendation. The choice is always yours. There's no strings attached. We don't receive kickbacks. There's no monetary value for us.
Nothing.
The value for me is in fixing your claim problem of denials. And while I'm at this, everyone get on Twitter. That's important. We're on Twitter at Fed Injury Center, at the @ Fed Injury Center. The reason that's important is because you can have in real time on your phone access to rules, laws, and regulations that will protect you when you get hurt. So follow us at Fed Injury Center. I don't spam you. I don't waste your time with what I had for dinner and who my favorite team is and who's going to win the national championship. I don't really care about that stuff, okay? I care about helping you, and all I'm going to post on there are things that are useful to you in OWCP and getting your claim accepted and combating your supervisor's bad information. And one more thing, and then I'm going to get started. Inevitably, especially at a time where a lot of new people are coming on, we're going to have somebody come on here that's going to be sort of like the OWCP heckler. And that's okay, okay? You can be mad at me. I'm not going to be mad at you. We are well aware that all of the unions have OWCP specialists. We love them all. We're friends with some of them. Nothing I'm doing is meant to be a replacement to anything they do. I'm aware that they all, in one way or another, do some training and provide some form of help to you. Okay, there is never going to be enough people doing that, that work and helping you. So don't be mad at us if I tell you something about OWCP and you think, well, don't listen to them. We have our own people. I want to say this, and please just accept this as a numerical fact. 1 out of 6 postal employees had an accepted claim. If that sounds good to you, keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
1 out of 20 VA employees. 1 out of 20. Okay, if you take the entire AFGE, okay, as a whole, it's 1 out of 20. If you work on a base, it's like 1 out of 28. If you work for Social Security, it's like 1 out of 65. All right, you folks are getting crushed in OWCP, so there's never going to be enough help. I love all of your union folks that do this. The MBAs for the NALC, love them. Devin with the rural letter carriers, good friend of mine, okay?
Really
everybody
sweet.
That does all the teaching for all the unions, I'm a big fan. Even if I haven't met you, I'm a huge fan because you do what you do. But what I do is valuable. It's different than what they do. So jump on, pay attention, get your pen and paper, invite your friends, and let's get this thing going.
Yeah, there's a lot of you asking about dog bites and you need our help. Go ahead and message us after about any of these things that either yourself or your coworker is dealing with, and we will be gladly to answer. You'll either get an answer from Chris, myself, or Derek on here as well. Those are the people that are always on here when you call Derek or Jennifer. And by the way, Derek and Jennifer, please post your number in the comments below. So there's 4 of us, so you can go ahead and help. So let's get started. We are going to go talk about the CA-10. And like Chris always says, how many of you have heard about a CA-10? Let's see some hearts if you heard about a CA-10.
And while you're hearting, let me go ahead and explain it to you. So the CA-10 is an informational form. It's a Department of Labor government form that's titled What a Federal Employee Should Do When Injured at Work. I will say that 99% of you have not heard of this form unless you are regulars here, and then you've all heard about the form and can probably quote it. The CA-10 tells you the 5 things you do when you get hurt at work. And it's very important that you understand this. And while you're at it, if you haven't gotten it off this Facebook post, go to federalinjurycenters.com to the OWCP Forms tab and print CA-10s. Take them to work and post them on your bulletin boards. The law and the form says post on employee's bulletin board. You cannot get in trouble for doing this. So help your coworkers out who aren't here. Go post this form on the board, point it out, let people know it's there, and tell people you put it there because we told you to, and here's how you find them next Wednesday night.
Yeah, and also, if any of you go to any of our offices, just ask the office to give you a few of them, and they'll give you some too. Yeah.
All right, so what a federal employee should do when injured at work. The first thing that it says is report to supervisor. Now, I'm not going to give any of this word for word because, as you can see, I don't have a CA-10, but I've taught it enough that I've memorized. So it says, as soon as possible. Report to your supervisor as soon as possible. There's 2 things there that are a problem. Number 1, nobody wants to talk to their supervisor. There might be like a small handful of you out there that love your supervisor, and that's good, and I commend that supervisor for being decent. But most of you hate that. But it is the step you must do. So suck it up and talk to your supervisor. You need to do it. It says report as soon as possible, but the problem is people misunderstand what that means. They think, well, let me just go home and, lay down and rest and see if it gets better. Look, as soon as possible means now. If you're hurt at work, report it now. Because if you delay, you start losing benefits that are important to you. So report to your supervisor right away. Now. Stop what you're doing and get it done, okay? Then, while you're reporting, at the same time, like imagine you walked into the supervisor's office, you sit down in the chair across the table from the supervisor. You're not going to stand up until everything I'm about to say is finished. It's easy to do. Don't be intimidated by this process. It's so simple. So while you're sitting there, the second part of the CA-10 says, get a CA-16 from your supervisor. So let's explain what this is and why it's a big deal. The CA16 pays all of your medical bills for the first 60 days if you have a CA1 claim, which I'll explain about in a minute, that you report within 7 days. If you wait till day 8, you are no longer eligible for the CA16. Why is that CA16 so important? Because it pays your bills for 60 days. Your claim will not be approved during that period of time. Most doctors won't understand this process and are going to write bad reports, but in that period of time, you can still have your bills paid. Now, the alternative to that is you pay out of your pocket. So, which sounds better, keeping your money or spending your money? Right, keeping your money. So you got to get a CA16, but too many supervisors act like they don't know what it is or they don't have to give it to you. But they do. And so this is the first example of why you need to be on Twitter, @FedInjuryCenter. Because when you're on my Twitter page, you'll be able to scroll while you're sitting there in that chair in front of your supervisor to the law and the Code of Federal Regulations that says they have to give it to you within 4 hours of your request. So how great would it be knowing this form pays your bills, okay? It can be the difference in financial distress or not. And you get there and your supervisor says no, and you say, yeah, but, and you're holding up your phone, right? And you're saying, yeah, but what about the Code of Federal Regulations that says you have to give it to me within 4 hours? I'm going to need that form right now. So it's really important. When you don't get that form, it causes all kinds of just tragic conditions. Like when you start making decisions on if you're going to get help, medical or therapy help or surgical intervention, and your decisions are based on money, it's awfully hard to make a good decision. But when you take money out of the equation, you can just make a good decision for yourself. So get a CA16. Get on Twitter @FedInjuryCenter. And go find it and just show your supervisor and say, yeah, I am going to get a CA16 today.
And if they deny you from giving you a CA16, there is a law. The law? Or the rule?
Go ahead and just tell them and I'll fill in the blanks.
No, go ahead. I just blanked out.
So if they don't give it to you, file a grievance, number one. File a grievance because the law says that you should get this form. This form pays your bills.
Yeah.
And also, contact EEO and tell them, I'm not being treated fairly. Look, I'm injured and they're not giving me what I need, and see if you have a complaint you can file. But don't just take it laying down. Go get a union representative and bring them back with you. If you're a rural carrier, have a step one discussion. Say, hey, this is my step one discussion. You owe me this form. I showed you the law. Why don't you reconsider and give it to me? And if not, then go through your grievance procedures. And all the unions have somewhat different procedures. But get this form. All right, get it. It's very, very important that you get it. All right, so back to the CA10. So that second portion out of 5 sections says get a CA16, but it also says that you have the right to select your own physician. Well, this is really important because too many supervisors are telling you have to go to their doctor, like the company doctor,
Yeah.
And if you work for the VA, like 11 out of 10 times, they're telling you have to go to the VA doctor. So this is a problem because these doctors get claims denied. They're not trained in OWCP. So if you have to go to those doctors first, you're going to be stuck with them as your treating physician, and they don't have a clue about this system. So you're stuck with an untrained, unknowledgeable doctor who's going to get your claim denied and get you screwed over. So we don't want that. So you need to understand you get to choose your own doctor. Now it's going to be hard. In some places, it's hard to find a doctor. But it's always better to take the time to call around and make your own choice before just automatically taking theirs. All right. So we'll get into later how to find doctors because that's a serious problem. But it's important you understand it's your right to choose a doctor. So the law says this. And if you're on Twitter @FedInjuryCenter, you can get this law. But it says you have the right to choose your own doctor. It says that the supervisor can't get in the way of that right. It says that you can't be forced to go to a doctor who is employed by or under contract with the agency. Okay, so that definitely just screams VA doctor. You can't be forced to go there. And it says in the Code of Federal Regulations that the supervisor is responsible for telling you it's your right to choose a doctor. So who thinks it's really your right to choose? It is. Don't get bullied. Don't get pushed around. Okay, choose your own doctor. If you elect the company doctor, that's your choice too. But understand that the consequence of a bad choice is a denied claim. So you can choose your own doctor.
Remember that. A lot of you are saying, yeah, you can choose your own doctor. They're going to try to send you to one, and maybe they drop you off at the ER or a walk-in clinic because it's necessary for that minute. But you can choose your own doctor.
And hey, maybe it's really an emergency and you should go to whatever urgent care or ER they send you to. But, before you go back a second time, take the time to search for a doctor that understands OWCP. Don't make a bad healthcare decision because I said don't go to their doctor.
Right.
Go if it's urgent. If you got bit by a dog or you're bleeding really bad and you need stitches or you broke a bone or your arm's hanging off, I don't know what happened, or you're in a really bad car wreck, don't avoid their doctor. Okay, get medical attention, but understand that their doctor is likely going to get your claim denied.
Yeah, real quick, Ashley, we will help you. We won't take any money. You don't have to send me money through PayPal. I don't even have a PayPal account.
Yeah, no. So I'm glad you said that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to finish up the last 3 seconds of the CA10. You should all know we don't take money for this, so don't bother asking us. We've never taken a penny from a single person ever.
Yeah.
All right. Next thing, somebody's going to say, oh, yeah, how do you get paid? Well, if I was a jerk, I'd say, none of your business. But the truth is, we're involved in other businesses.
Yes.
And in those other businesses, we get paid. And this is like a public service that we do because you need it. All right. We train doctors, and then the doctors say, gosh, these people come in and they don't know what their rights are. And so we started training people on their rights. So that's what we're doing here.
Yeah. So
don't ask us to take your money. We never will.
We will definitely help you. Ashley, you can either put your number down in the messages, contact Jennifer, Derek, or myself, and any one of us will be able to help you.
Yeah. So
continuing on.
Yeah, continuing on.
CA10.
So you can choose your doctor, get a CA16, report immediately. Okay, so that's what we've talked about. The next thing in the CA10, what a federal employee should do when injured at work, is while you're sitting with your supervisor and you've already gotten your CA10 and you've already decided you're going to choose your own doctor, you say, okay, we need to fill out a form, a CA1 or a CA2. So what's the difference? A CA1 is a form you fill out to report an injury that happens in a single work shift. It happened today. It happened right now. A dog bite would go on a CA1. A car accident where you're injured goes on a CA1. Bending over and lifting a box and feeling a pop in your back, CA1.
Pop.
Stepping out of your LLV and twisting your ankle, CA1. So on and so forth. If it happened right now, it's a CA1. A CA2 happens over 2 or more shifts, okay? 2 or more days, weeks, months, or years, or decades, okay? It develops over time. Carpal tunnel syndrome, tendinitis, osteoarthritis, chronic back pain. These things develop over time. They typically don't develop in one shift.
Yeah, and if when you guys are doing this all day in the mailboxes, and that goes
eventually
out
you
after
can
a while.
you can develop tears that happen over a period of time, as opposed to a tear that happens in a single lifting episode or something like that. So the difference is one shift or multiple shifts, CA1 or CA2. And sorry, let me turn my volume down here. So when you're reporting your injuries, you have to fill this form out right in front of your supervisor. So we understand a CA1. Let's assume that we all understand an injury that happened right now. We report it right away, right now. But on a CA2 claim, where it develops over time, as soon as you realize that what you're dealing with is a work-related condition, that's your right now point. So if right now I realize that my shoulder pain has been developing over the last 5 years of work, then right now I need to go report my injury. In both cases, and this is the next thing, if you're following on Twitter at Fed Injury Center, you're going to get this information because your supervisor is going to tell you that you have 3 days. They're going to say you have 48 hours to report. They're going to say you can only report your injury within 1 week. Too many are going to say you can only report an injury within 30 days. But the truth is, the Code of Federal Regulations and the United States Code both say that you have 3 years to report your injuries.
Yeah, now somebody put 45 days on here. It's not 45 days to report an injury.
No,
it's
45
3
days.
Whole
Right.
years.
So 45 days is a common mistake, just as 30 is, because 45 is the number of continuation of pay days that you're eligible for on a CA1. 30 days is a common mistake because that's the length of time you have to report a CA1 injury in order to be eligible for COP. So these timeframes are very confusing. But the most important time frame for you is 3 years. You have 3 years from the date of injury to file a work injury claim. And on a CA2 that developed over time, you have 3 years from the date you realized it was work-related to fill out a work injury claim. Okay? So 3 years. Don't ever let a supervisor tell you that your time ran out. 3 years is a long time.
Yep.
And you likely did not miss the window when you have 3 years. So if you're sitting here right now going, what? I didn't know that. My injury was a year or 2 years ago. I didn't know I could still do it. I'm telling you right now, tomorrow is your right now. Go report your injury tomorrow.
Yeah.
You have a right to get help.
Yeah.
And it's not too late. We, like she said in the beginning and I mentioned, we train doctors as well. We've trained like 24 doctors in 13 different states. And these doctors are all good at getting claims accepted. This is not like a promotion or a sales tactic. I don't care what doctor you go to. But these doctors will take any claim that's been timely filed, which is within 3 years, and get those claims accepted. You know, our claims acceptance rate, yours is 1 out of 15, right? Federal employees has an accepted claim. Well, ours is like 14 out of 15. We get them all accepted eventually. So that's because we understand that it's not too late, and we know how to write these reports to get claims accepted. So your time frame for a CA1 and a CA2 is 3 years. Don't let anybody tell you different. This is the law. Go to Twitter at Fed Injury Center and follow it, and you can go find these laws. So when your supervisor tells you the wrong thing, you can show them the right thing and get your case dealt with the right way.
Hey, Evans Juice, look, you don't have to argue for us in our place because someone doesn't believe that.
Oh, no, but we appreciate you, Evans. It's not necessary.
That we're not making money in this. The NALC has a lot of people that do this. They're called NBAs.
And we think they're awesome.
And they're there, and you're welcome to use them. That should be your first stop. If they can't help you, then we can always help you. But
yeah.
We work closely with a lot of the NALC, and that's all I'm going to say. And if they think we're making money off of doing something off of Facebook, just laugh at them.
No, it's okay. But if hold on, a little sarcasm for a second, light moment. For those of you that think that we're taking money for this, what you do is you take your debit or credit card and you go to your phone
and swipe
it on the top of your phone. Just see what happens. Just see what happens.
Yeah, we don't take any money.
We really don't want it. We don't want it, okay? We actually enjoy doing this. We travel on our own dime.
And you could tell them that we travel. We go to the rural carrier conventions, state conventions, and we go to the APW conventions.
And we go to places where we're not associated with any doctors. You don't have to go to any doctors that we're associated with or that we know or that we trained in order to get this training. All right? There is no strings attached. So, it's not going to help you or your coworkers if you're this person or these people that think there's some ulterior motive. It doesn't help you to have that position with us. We're here to help you. And if you don't want the help, this is the wrong place anyways, and no hard feelings.
Yeah, we don't have any problems.
Okay, so moving on. So the next part of the CA10 is to get a notice of receipt. So the notice of receipt is part of the CA1 and the CA2. It's not a separate page. I told you this is easy, okay? You make sure that your supervisor fills that out and gives it to you. Now, here's what the CA10 doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you that you should get a complete copy of all of these forms that you filled out. Okay, it's 3 pages in total. It doesn't tell you that, but I'm telling you that. You got to get a copy of the front page, the second page, and the notice of receipt when you're filling out your CA1 and CA2. The law says that the supervisor is supposed to give you copies of all of that. Okay, and when you're following us on Twitter at Fed Injury Center, you can get that law and say, I want my copies. Don't deny me my copies. Here's what the Code of Federal Regulations says. It's very important because when you go to a doctor, they're going to have a lot easier time getting your claim accepted if they can read what the supervisor said on the second page of the CA1 form especially. On this form, the supervisor can say that it wasn't in performance of duty. They can say that it was due to willful misconduct. They can say that their knowledge of the facts of the case don't agree with what you said or what the witness said, and they do write in there in the last question on their second page if they intend to controvert your pay. So don't you want to know if they put negative answers on here? Your doctor definitely does, because when a good trained doctor sees that, that doctor knows how to refute it in their narrative report and get your claim accepted. We see it all the time, that a supervisor will say it's not in performance of duty, because the injury happened in the parking lot, because the supervisor doesn't know the rules. So the doctor who knows the rules explains them and gets your claim accepted. So you want to get a copy of the whole thing and take it with you, because your doctor is going to want to see that, and you should have it for your records as well. You need to know what your supervisor is saying about you, and that's where they write that on the second page of this packet. So get a copy of the whole thing, and then your last fifth step on the CA10 is how you intend to get paid if you're going to take time off. if you have a CA1 claim, on box 15 of the CA1 page, first page, you get to choose if you want COP, continuation of pay, or sick and annual leave. Most people don't read the form, and they don't see that it says if you elect COP and your claim is ultimately denied, you have to pay it back. So that's a risk you have to understand. If your claim is never denied and it's accepted, you don't pay it back. We've had a grand total of 0 people of the thousands of people we've helped over the last 10 years that had to pay that back. Because when the claim gets accepted, there's no money paid back. But you got to know that's a risk if you go to a doctor who can't get your claim accepted. If you elect sick and annual leave, and your claim does get accepted, you can go and buy that time back. If it never gets accepted, you lost the time. So you need to know the risk involved in either of those selections. And there is a risk involved if you go to a doctor who's not trained. Okay? So that's the CA10, what a federal employee should do when injured at work. Go to federalinjurycenters.com and print all the CA10s that you want. Post them in all the bulletin boards you can find to post. If a supervisor or some other jerk takes it down, post it again. Keep putting it back up. The law says you can. You can't get in trouble for posting a CA10.
Yeah,
it says to post it
too.
Yeah, it says to post it. So do that and then point it out to your friends so they know what's going on, because people don't understand this form. And it's awfully hard to get a claim accepted if you don't know how to get a claim initiated.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you think you don't have 3 years to report a claim, report an injury. So, let's get straight on what the rules are. Let's understand this form especially, and what the CA1 and the CA2 are. And, start sharing this with your friends so more people have a fighting chance at getting claims accepted. 1 out of 15 federal employees has an accepted claim. That is unacceptable.
Yeah. Damon Weber, you said, we were told we have 24 hours to report an injury at my station. Will you go and pull the law and show your whoever at your station that you have 3 years?
So here's what happens, though. At the post office, I know for sure, they've got a policy that says that you report everything right away. You follow the post office policy.
Yeah.
But let's say you didn't understand the policy and you waited 2 years. You have 3 years to report your injury and still have a chance to get it accepted. So understand there's a difference between post office policy and Department of Labor policy. I'm saying that you have 3 years to report an injury and still have a chance to get it accepted. That's very important. And some people will say, well, gosh, 3 years later, why do I need to do that? Well, okay, let's say that you use your health insurance because you didn't know you could file your injury, and you use your health insurance and it caused you to pay money out of your pocket for like co-pays and deductibles. And you needed to take some time off and you didn't have COP as an option, you couldn't file a CA7 form. So you used your sick and annual leave. And you had to drive back and forth to the doctor, and some of your visits took a long time and was a long way. Well, if later, even 3 years down the road, you get your claim accepted, you can get reimbursed for all the money you paid out of your pocket, the time that you spent, and the mileage that you drove. So to some people, that's worth it. So if for no other reason than just to be eligible for all of your benefits in the future, that's why you do this. Some people are struggling and like nearly on disability because they couldn't afford surgery. Well, 3 years later, if you need surgery and you realize, gosh, I could still get that done, it's worth it to you too. So you got to find out for you if it's worth it. But the key is that you understand you have options, and 3 years is your window, not 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, 2 weeks, 30 days, or 45 days.
3
years.
Okay, so that was the CA10. Again, you can find a copy on the link I posted earlier about tonight's tonight's live, or you can go on federalinjurycenters.com, go into forms, and all the forms we're going to go over and even more forms are in the forms tab, so you can find that there. And let's see,
anybody wants to know what I'm doing, I'm watching a mosquito fly around my house, and
Ashley, it's fine.
He'll die soon.
Yeah, Ashley, we could help you, so don't worry. Any of you guys have any problem, regardless to what we're talking about, please contact us.
Yeah.
There's so much of OWCP that we know, but when you guys start getting into internal post office stuff, and disability and stuff like that, we really tell you to defer back to your management, your union, and stuff like that.
Yeah, this is probably a good time as well. Many of you will have mixed feelings on what I'm going to say. I understand that not everyone agrees with me, and that's okay. But I do think it's worth your while to be involved in your union. Some locals are stronger than others. That's just a fact that many of them will admit to as well. But there's a lot of times where being involved with your union will help you with your supervisor. And so, when you feel like you're kind of out on an island by yourself, you can always call us, and we'll always help you anytime for free. And but when you're part of a union, they're there for you as well. Okay, so definitely get involved when you get a chance, because the unions that we are involved with, the presidents that we're friends with, are strong. Okay, and don't put up with a lot of crap, and that's what you need. So hopefully that describes someone that you're working with at your local union level.
Yeah, I just posted my number, 877-787-OWCP. You can get me on there. You can get me through my personal Facebook Messenger. You can get us on the Federal Injury Center's Facebook Messenger or Wednesday Night Chat's Facebook Messenger. So there's every way possible, and there's a couple of us that will reach out back to you and answer your questions. So the next thing we're going to go over, because we're going to keep moving on because I know you guys have questions, we're going to go over the CA1 versus the CA2, and what, like Chris said it as he was going over the CA16, when to file each different one.
So like I said a second ago, there's a difference. So let's just recap. A CA1 is for an injury, to report an injury that happens in a single shift. A CA2 is to report an injury that happens over 2 or more shifts, 2 or more days, weeks, months, years, decades. And so all injuries that happen on the job that are as long as you report your injury within 3 years, it's timely. And so all timely filed legitimate claims should be approved and can be reported. So that's important for you to know. I said before, get a copy of everything. Once you fill it out with your supervisor, leave with a complete copy of all the papers. Some supervisors will say, I don't have time for this right now, so go away and I'll just submit this to Department of Labor for you. That doesn't work for you because you need copies. So make sure you get a copy of everything, okay? And it's harder for them to write negative things about you if you're sitting in front of them. Okay, that's just a fact. So if you walk away, they can write things like, I'm going to controvert pay. There's a story I like to tell of a letter carrier who walked into a ditch as she was delivering the mail in the evening near the end of her shift. And when she stepped into this ditch to go to the house, there was a hole in there. And she stepped inside that hole. And she twisted her knee. So she did the right thing and immediately called her supervisor and reported it and said to the supervisor, I stepped in this ditch and twisted my knee. And he said, well, okay, come on back and let's fill out the paperwork. So she did. She said, I stepped in a ditch and twisted my knee, which is absolutely true, right? So anyway, she gets back to her station. She gets her CA1 form with her supervisor. She's filling out her portion of it. And, she writes what happened. She said, I stepped out of my LLV into this hole and twisted my knee. And the supervisor read that, and on the back it says, does your knowledge of the facts of this case agree with what the statements of the employee? And he said, no. Well, okay, that's a red flag. Because the supervisor saying, no, what she said isn't what I understand to be true, which could cause a claim to get denied. And so it said, you have to explain why you say no. He said, well, she said she stepped in a ditch when she talked to me, but on this form she wrote she stepped in a hole.
And the green grass grew all around and around.
And so the doctor who I trained calls me up and says, how do I handle this? And I said, all right, so put a paragraph in your narrative report that explains that hole was inside the ditch. And so he calls me back and he goes, okay, let me read this to you. All right, go ahead, Doc. He goes, I titled it in bold letters, The Hole Was in the Ditch, You Jerk. No, idiot.
No, idiot.
The hole was in the ditch, you idiot.
Yes.
That was the title of his paragraph. And then he went on to explain that the hole was in the ditch, and she didn't lie, she told the truth. And, whatever. But if you don't have a copy of that form, the doctor doesn't have an opportunity to write that paragraph and get that claim accepted, which it did. Instead, that employee would spend months doing reconsiderations trying to get a denial appealed. And when all along it could have just been fixed up front, avoiding a denial, which is what happened here. So when you get your forms, you sit there, you fill them out with the supervisor, and you walk away with copies. Okay? And then you handle them based on what the supervisor said and let the doctor see it. So that's the difference between a 1 and a 2, whether it happened in a single shift or multiple shifts. And If you ever want to know what these forms look like, they're on our website as well, federalinjurycenters.com. And yes, I keep telling you about our website. This is not a sales presentation, but I've done you a favor, and I've put forms in a place that are easy to find and that actually open when you click on them. Lots of times you go to Department of Labor's OWCP site, you go to OWCP forms, and you click on a PDF there, and it won't open. It just sits there. It's like in forms purgatory. So we fixed that, and on our side that doesn't happen. So go there and check these forms out so you're familiar with them, and tell your friends. You have 3 years. If you're limping around thinking you couldn't do it, or you're using your left arm more than your right because your right's hurt, hey, it may not be too late. You have 3 years to report your injuries. Yeah. So let's pause and answer some questions.
Before you guys are asking what we're going to be going over, so we went over the CA-10. You definitely should carry a CA-10 with you at all times and have that up in your break room, in your LLV, your
at the
purse,
union hall.
The union.
Yeah.
We just covered the difference between a CA-1 and a CA-2. We're going to cover the CA-16, CA-17, and yes, we are going to cover the CA-7 and how to get paid. So we're going to cover all of this in the next 2 hours. So let's see some of these questions. I've been answering them. I have an accepted case and work 4 hours a day and LWOP for workers' comp. The other had an issue when taking AL, was told to do 4 AL and 4 LWOP, so workman's comp still pays the 4 AL.
Correct. Okay, sorry, back.
He just left me.
It got hot in here. Well, I'm sitting next to you. All right, moving on.
How do I reopen a case? I had a head injury in 2018 that now causes me to have seizures. And I'm off work. What form do I file? Supervisors are not cooperative. When are the supervisors cooperative?
Very rarely. I know of I'm going to answer the question. We heard of a supervisor who was the sister of an employee, and the sister gave the employee, who was her sister, a hard time when it was time to report an injury. So sometimes there's no end to this. But if you had a head injury, number one question I would ask is, was it accepted? Because if your injury was accepted, you can get it reopened. If it was denied and closed, you've got an issue, okay? You'll have to go back and try to get it approved first, and that will open it. If your claim was accepted and now it's closed, you get a CA2A. A lot of times I tell people, a CA2A is called a notice of recurrence. It's like, I had an injury in the past and it's come back, okay? I always tell people, are you sure it's a recurrence and it's not something new? Because maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But before filling out a CA2A, go to the doctor and talk about it. Because if it's a new injury, you want to go through the new steps of a CA1 or 2. If it is really just the old one that just came back, you fill out a 2A notice of recurrence, and that's how you handle it. So in your case, I'm not a medical doctor, but it sounds like you might have a recurrence. So the first thing you want to do is go to your doctor and say, hey doc, is this related to the old head injury? And if it is, then you go to your supervisor and fill out a CA2A notice of recurrence, and you go from there. And your doctor will write a narrative report explaining why this needs to be reopened, why you're having a recurrence. And then the claims examiner will get all of that and make a decision one way or the other. But that's how it's done. And I hope that works out for you.
Yeah. Nelson said, I got hurt on the job December 13th, and my postmaster was just like, you're getting old, and started laughing like it was a joke.
Well, when you get the claim accepted, you can just laugh back. That's pretty rude.
Yeah. Let's see.
Those of you that are saying that we're awesome and that you appreciate us, look, we really appreciate the good feedback. We're really trying hard for you, and we truly do love you. So thank you for the nice feedback. That's very touching.
I stepped in a ditch on the job and fell to the ground, sprained my ankle, and have pain in my shoulder. I have a question. I have applied for a disability called UNUM. Now, if I work 2 hours a day, do I still get paid through UNUM?
I'm not really sure what UNUM is, so I'll have to look that up. That's a new one. I've been doing this since 2007 and never heard that before. So explain what those 4 letters mean, and maybe I can help you. But I can tell you that federal disability is not a thing where you can work 2 hours or work 2 hours and get 6 hours of pay. Federal disability is a thing where it says you can no longer do that job anymore, but you might be able to do like another job that's not a federal job even. So you'd have to explain, so give me some more information on that. But that is what federal disability is. It allows you to stop working your federal job, but still be able to work another job, receive the disability benefits, and a large portion of the income from the new job.
He said it's like Aflac.
Who said that?
The guy who just wrote the question.
That's fine. Okay, all right. That's funny. So, yeah, look, you paid for that. Those benefits are things you paid in for, so you can still receive those at the same time, yeah.
So Priscilla said, I had a station manager tell me to use my other arm when I told him my arm hurt to pick up a package. You know what I want to say to them? I won't say it out loud.
Yeah, so look, that's going to lead into the CA-17 talk, which I will do in just a second. So hold that, because when I talk about the duty status report, it's going to answer that question. But let me say this, that a supervisor should show you their medical license or get the heck out of the way.
Hey, right. Jerry, repost your FCE question. So I for some reason, my messages won't scroll all the way up. So those of you that know, this is a 2-hour 2020 special training for the new year for all of you that got injured probably during the holidays or probably prior to the holidays. And
we're just sucking it up through the holidays because the extra hours were really good, getting lots of overtime. And,
yes.
And that's awesome. But all that's over now, and it's time to take care of yourself. Don't keep delaying. So if you've been putting it off, get it done. Okay? As soon as possible for you means tomorrow.
Yeah. So CA10, CA1, CA2. We're going to cover the CA16, CA17, and CA7s on how to get paid. Aw, Tanya, we're awesome. Thank you.
You are too. So I talked about the CA16 already, but it's worth repeating. The CA16 pays your medical bills for 60 days.
Yes, it does. But it's so strange when we go to the conventions and Chris asks how many people have heard of a CA16.
Out of 100 people, 3 people raise their hand maybe.
4 people raise their hand, and you have no clue that there's such thing as a CA16, nor do some of the supervisors and management even offer it to you. So So pay close attention how to get the CA16 and why you should get a CA16.
Yeah. So you're eligible for a CA16 when you report your CA1 injury within 7 days of the injury. That's how you become eligible. Day 8, you're no longer eligible. If it's a CA2, you're not eligible. But if you report your CA1 injury immediately, you're eligible. At which point you request it, just like the CA10, what a federal employee should do when injured at work, form says. And your supervisor, according to the Code of Federal Regulations, then has 4 hours to give it to you. Okay? If they don't give it to you, file a grievance, file an EEO claim, raise hell.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have it, it costs you money out of your pocket that you don't have. You didn't ask to get hurt. You didn't expect to get hurt. You didn't wake up today and say, I'm going to get hurt today, or I hope I do. And so it's expensive to have medical bills you didn't plan on. Even if you did plan on them, sometimes they're very expensive. And so anyways, you just need to know to get a CA16. It pays your medical bills. Pays doctor's visits, physical therapy, chiropractic, braces. It pays for emergency surgeries. It pays for such a wide range of things in the event that you're injured and it's a CA1 claim and you report within 7 days. So you need that form. You got to have it. Don't leave without it. And some supervisors will get cute with you and they'll hand it to you and say, okay, go. The supervisor has to fill out the first page and sign it. Don't take a blank CA16 to your doctor. It's worthless. Wad it up and throw it in the trash if you're not going to get it signed by your supervisor. It's critically important. Don't leave there without a signed copy. It's so important. It happens all the time, though.
Also, make a copy as you're going to your different doctors. Like if you have an ortho appointment, take it to them. A physical therapy appointment, your MRI appointment, and your prescriptions. And once your claim is accepted, you're able to get your prescriptions. Go to CVS.
Yeah, it pays pharmacy.
Get your prescriptions for free. Or if you didn't get them for free, go to CVS, have a printout, and submit that with OWCP. With your CA7, which we will go on and tell you about that.
Okay, so that's a CA-16. It's as simple as that. It covers your medical expenses. I used to say it pays all your bills for 60 days, and somebody one day came up and said, what about my utility bill?
Yes.
What about my car payment? No, it doesn't pay your car payment or utility bill. It pays health care related expenses related to the injury.
Let's see. Samira Marie said, this is a question I kind of asked before the holidays, but still have a question on it. It's okay. I have a denial and need to go to one of your doctors that have been trained, but you said I can't just go because that would automatically get me a denial. So my question is, what do I do to be allowed to see one of your doctors? Do I just ask my doctor for a referral, second opinion?
Okay. So I'm going to detour into how to change treating doctors because the question was asked. Write this down, but also get on Twitter at Fed Injury Center because this stuff is there. At Fed Injury Center. Okay, it's so important. These questions come at me all the time, and so the things that I'm frequently answering, I put on there so you can actually see the law. But here's the deal. You have 3 ways that you can change doctors. Now, the best thing is to pick the right doctor up front. That's the best thing. Your choice of doctor is a critical choice for you, so that's the best thing. Let's say you picked the wrong doctor. You didn't mean to, but it happened. You can write a letter to your claims examiner requesting a change of treating doctor. In this request, you got to say why you're changing and from whom you're changing from and who you're changing to. Okay, but you got to put a reason in. And then the claims examiner has the option to deny it, which often happens. They deny it for really bad reasons, but whatever, they do. The other thing you can do is ask for a referral from your treating doctor to the other doctor. Write a referral so I can go see somebody else. That sometimes works. So get that done. Get a referral, take it with you. Or you can, and this is in the rules, your doctor can write a letter to the claims examiner requesting to be removed from your case. And so when doctors, let's say your claim can't get approved, the doctor's not getting paid. 100%, they do not get paid when your claim is not approved. Okay? And so sometimes it's like a gift to them. Like they're happy to do this. You may ask them, hey doc, do you want to remove yourself from this claim and let me get a chance to have some other doctor get it accepted? Because when the other doctor gets it accepted, you're going to get paid. So the doctor that couldn't get the job done can still get paid on their bills later when some other doctor does a better job. So you request a change of treating doctor, you get a referral, or you ask your doctor to get himself removed from the case. And the rule says that request shall be granted. So they don't ever argue with the doctor. But when that happens, there's also no guarantee that they'll let you choose your own doctor there because you have the right to initial selection of physician. So there's always a catch to these things, but these are your 3 ways to do it, okay? And the 4th way is just go because you're getting a claim denied. Just go. Just go. It's better to ask for forgiveness and permission sometimes. And a really great narrative is impossible to ignore. A claims examiner can't ignore it because it's just too good. And so I definitely, if I ever said in the past that you can't go see one of our doctors or that going to see one of our doctors will automatically get it denied, that was my mistake. I communicated that very badly. Going to see one of my doctors that I trained will almost certainly get your claim accepted. It is your choice. This wasn't an effort to promote doctors or convince you to go to doctors. I don't care what doctors you go to. I just care that you don't get claims denied anymore.
And go to a doctor from right off the bat that knows what they're doing. Yeah. And we understand, this is a little off the topic, we understand that there is not a doctor in certain states or certain areas. So, and this is the only time I'm going to say this for the rest of the night, we are franchising federal injury centers as of this year. So you will see an increase in
trained doctors.
Trained OWCP doctors. So hold tight. I know it's hard, but either go to the ACS website and bear out with a doctor or find one of the doctors we've trained or come to one of our federal injury centers or don't go to the people that are trying to take money from you up front.
Yeah.
Don't do that because you know why? We heard this all the time. They'll take a $1,500 retainer. This is not an attorney either. They'll take $1,500 from you up front, sit on your case for a year and a half or 2, and every month deduct your paycheck $150 for what a doctor should be doing for free. not insurance,
Things
but
that
for free.
we do for free all the time.
So remember that advice. So we will be coming to your area soon.
And you know what? That makes me think. Whoever it was earlier that says that we get paid or something, maybe that's what they're talking about. Because there are groups out there that get paid to do this, that you pay out of your pocket. We're just not one of them. Okay, we're all the way against them. They're our competitors, and they're easy to compete against because we don't take your money. So.
Yeah. Valerie, Grace Medical is with Dr. DiTomaso and Dr. Cameraman. I work for him. So if you're going there,
I trained him.
He's great. So we'll help you with that. And Beth, you said, are there trained doctors in every state? I'm in Maine. No, there's not trained doctors.
There's nobody in Maine.
In every state.
Not yet.
So in Maine.
But Maine just made my list.
You need to drive over to Boston.
Yeah.
And go to Federal Injury Centers there. Or if you want to call on ACS to find one, you can find one there. But again, eventually we will be coming. And
hold on. And some people say, gosh, going out of state. Look, in New England it's different because I'm from Texas, okay, where your states are like our counties, so we just drive to the next county. But listen, a long drive is usually less painful than a denied claim. And so sometimes you make that decision. We've got doctors in the middle of the country that we've trained where people from the edges of the country fly into them to get their claims accepted. That's your choice. It's their decision. I get nothing from you making that decision. I train the doctors. They do an excellent job. Should you decide to go to one of them, more power to you. You'll get your claim accepted.
Nelson, you're in Tampa. We have an office in Clearwater. So call me tomorrow and we'll get you into the office immediately, like this week.
Don't struggle with this if you're in the Tampa Bay area, because your other option in the Tampa Bay area is one of those groups that will charge you money out of your pocket. Oops. So don't do that to yourself. We'll do it for free.
Nelson, my number is 877-787-OWCP. Call me, leave me a message if I don't answer, and I'll call you back and I'll get you into our Clearwater office. And tell all your people in Tampa that there is an office in Clearwater.
Yep.
It's right off of 19 and Curlew, behind the Joann's Fabric.
And nobody gets more accepted claims than we do.
Yeah.
Period.
Valerie said, committed to approving cases. Dr. Cameron, yes.
Yep.
He is very committed to approving cases.
It's his only job.
Linda, we have people from Jacksonville that are actually driving from Jacksonville to Clearwater. We will be coming to Jacksonville soon. We have people that are driving from South Carolina.
7 people.
Every 2 weeks coming here to get therapy and everything they need every 2 weeks, because there is not a single doctor in South Carolina. So if you say you're too far, think about the people in South Carolina.
There's no substitute for an accepted claim. But let's move on from that. I don't want this to be salesy. What else?
No doctors in California. Sorry.
Can you believe it? That's a massive state with so many people. And, the population of that state exceeds the populations of most countries. And there's not an OWCP doctor in the state yet. We're working on that.
Yeah, Priscilla, it's not a consultation center. We will have Federal Injury Centers clinics in all 50 states soon.
Yeah.
So with that said, the next topic is CA-17s. You all know what a CA-17 is, and I know this is going to stir up a bunch of questions, so listen on up.
So the CA-17 is the duty status report. This is how your doctor writes restrictions for your job. It's how they take you off of work. It's how they remove restrictions so you can do more, and it's how they send you back to work, full duty. The CA-17 duty status report protects your job. If you have to be off of work, this protects you. If you have to take limited duty, this is the instigator of that limited duty assignment. You got to get this from your supervisor, though. It's a form that's divided down the middle into 2 parts, A and B. A is for the supervisor, B is for the physician. Your supervisor has to fill out side A first. You take that, deliver it to the doctor. They fill out side B, and then you deliver it back to your supervisor. And that's how the supervisor knows how to restrict your duties so you don't get hurt worse at work. I'm not a doctor, like I said, but I can tell you that the good doctors that I know are not out there trying to take you off of work. That's not their goal. They're not out there to give you a vacation. Okay, they're out there to get you back to work full duty in a way that is safe to you. And the CA-17 form ensures your safety. That you go to work and you don't lift 70 pounds when you can only lift 20. And you don't stand for 8 hours when you can only stand for 2. That's what that form does. And like I said, it also sends you back to work without restrictions, full duty. So you need to get that form. However, many supervisors will not give it to you when your claim's not accepted. So when that happens, there's another form It's called the OWCP 5C. You can get that on our website as well, federalinjurycenters.com. You can get both of those at our website. And if you have your doctor fill out that form, the OWCP 5C form, you can give that to your supervisor. They have no choice but to accept that. And then if they go against that, your doctor will just have to take you off of work. Okay? So at some point your claim gets accepted and they can't ignore your 17 anymore. But here's what you do if your claim's not accepted. You have to be off of work medically and your supervisor is giving you a hard time. Fill out an FMLA form. Okay, get an FMLA packet off the internet. All right, go to Google and search FMLA form.
Yep.
Print that out, take it to the doctor and ask them to fill that out. A doctor that's worth anything will fill this out for you, okay? Take that back to the supervisor. That stands for Federal FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act. What happens is you have like 120 days, 120 days a year.
120 days a year.
That you can use FMLA. And so now the supervisor has to protect your job. They can't fire you for being off of work. Okay, so when you can't go to work and your claim's not accepted, and in the interim period while you're working your tail off to get your claim accepted, use FMLA. That'll protect your job. And all of you have a phone number you have to call into, like an 800 number.
Yeah.
Call that number. When you have to be out of work, call it. Now, I'm going to be out of work for 2 weeks. And then in the end of 2 weeks, call again if you still have to be off of work.
Just make sure you call.
Follow all the steps.
Yeah.
Make that phone call because we've seen people who they tried to fire them for not making that call.
Yeah, they have.
Don't get yourself fired. You know, one of the things we're trying to do is protect your job. So making that phone call, filling out an FMLA form, getting a CA-17 form, these are ways that you protect your job when you have to be off of work. And then when your doctor sends you back to work, go. You know, go to work. Don't stay home after you've been released full duty. We've seen people do that. The doctor released them full duty and they didn't go back to work. So they were called AWOL. And, you know, they had grounds for termination. And then, you know, the unions can often fight to get your job back, but it's a fight that's not worth having. Just follow the doctor's orders on the CA-17. So that's what that form is for.
What's the deadline on a FMLA?
Well, you have 120 days a year for FMLA, so when you run out for the calendar year. So if you run out in April, you don't have anything else till next January.
Yeah, the doctor won't do it again either.
That's just how it goes. The law only gives you so many days. It's not infinite. There's no deadline for it. You fill it out when you don't have any other way to protect your job. Like if your claim's accepted, or if it's not, and they're accepting your CA-17, you don't need FMLA. The CA-17 does the job. It protects you. But when none of that stuff is working for you, you fill out FMLA forms and protect your job. And stay in contact with your union. Make sure you've got a union rep or a president that have your back and that understand what's going on. And like the great NALC president that we are friends with here in Florida would say, you know, don't screw around with this. If you're doing the right thing, your good union reps are going to fight for you and get the right thing done for you. So do the right thing. Make the phone calls, fill out the forms, and follow doctor's orders. That's very important.
You guys have to remember your supervisors are not going to always give you a CA-16, a CA-17. They barely want to have you fill out a CA-1 or CA-2.
That's right.
So when we educate you, and our next week we're going to go over the rules of all these things, you need to take what we're saying into consideration and use it for yourself. No one's going to protect you but you.
Yeah, I say this all the time. Nobody's got your back like you do. Nobody cares about your situation more than you care about it. So you've got to advocate for yourself first and foremost. It'd be wrong if I didn't make this other point on the CA-17. Let's say your claim's approved. You request that 17 from your supervisor and they refuse to give it to you. Here's what you do.
Shoot him in the head. Just kidding.
Take that back.
I don't shoot him.
I swear to God, she didn't mean that. Some people take this stuff literally.
I'm not.
Don't use violence.
I said that so many times.
Water guns, people. Goodness.
Pop him. No.
Okay, anyways. Forget the shoot him in the head part. Nobody's doing that. All right. That totally threw me off. CA-17. Good God. All right, so if they won't give it to you, you get a form, you print it from federalinjurycenters.com, and on side A, just take a Sharpie and very politely write the truth. Supervisor refused to give it to me. Or supervisor refused to fill this out. And then take it to the doctor and have the doctor do the best job possible filling out side B, and then turn it back in. And that won't happen very many times because usually supervisors don't want to get called out by you and especially by the doctor for not following the rules.
And they will put their name inside the
a good doctor will say, what's the supervisor's name? Bob? Okay. Supervisor Bob refused to fill this out in a black Sharpie. Okay? We want to prevent supervisors from hosing you. And that's one way to do it. So hopefully they'll just follow the rules and give it to you. But if they don't, protect yourself. Do the right thing because you have to protect your job.
Okay.
Questions?
Jerry asks, our good friend Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Again, how often can we be forced to do FCEs? They're painful as you don't know you can't do something until it hurts. I just had one November 25th and now a letter scheduled for another at the same place 5 weeks later. No law says must submit to exams, but isn't this unreasonable frequency?
Okay. Jerry. So I'm not a doctor, as you know, and the rest of you have heard now for the third time. With that said, I've been in this industry a very long time, and in the very beginning, I was an FCE tech. And so I know things about this. I'm an expert at it, probably even more than most of the doctors are. So let me tell you some things. Number one, if you're sent to a second opinion doctor, you have to go. Even if that doctor is going to do an FCE, you have to show up. Not showing up is bad news, so show up. With that said, I never did an FCE with a patient where they didn't sign a consent form, a consent to be tested, which also meant they had the right to refuse that test. You got to show up, but you don't have to do anything that you don't feel is safe. The other thing in an FCE is the purpose of this test is to find out what you can do without pain. What can you do without hurting yourself? And so if I have a terrible back. If I'm made to lift a box and I know there's 100 pounds in the box, I'm not lifting that box. I'll say, you know what, let's start with 25 and make sure my back's okay. And I'll do the 25. Okay, that worked. Add 10. And that's how an FCE works. And you go until you shouldn't. And you have to tell the FCE evaluator, look, I feel like if I do any more, I'm going to be unsafe. It's going to injure me. And that's not good. Because they're trying to find out what you can do without getting hurt. So if you're doing an FCE and you feel like it's hurting you, imagine that FCE is your job. If your job felt like it was hurting you, you'd tell somebody about it. So tell your FCE evaluator about it. You got to show up to second opinions, exams. You have to show up to all required exams that OWCP sets up, but you are not required to put yourself in harm's way. Okay, so that's the best thing I can tell you, and I hope that helps, Jerry. Hope it does.
What does FCE stand for?
FCE is a functional capacity evaluation. The purpose of this test, and these are sometimes like 3-4 hours long.
Yeah.
The purpose of the test is to find out what you can do physically, what you can lift, at what frequency can you lift it, how far can you walk, how far can you reach, how much can you lift over your head. It's a test that determines what you can do physically at work without getting hurt. And so when people get hurt at work, they often do FCEs. To find out what they can do. Doctors that I know do FCEs and mini FCEs to find out what kind of progress a person's making, because the other thing they want to be very accurate when filling out the CA-17 forms. And so the data that you get from one of these functional tests gives you a better opportunity to put good information on CA-17 so that you don't go back to work and get hurt.
My manager has never filled out the side she's supposed to. She just handed me the CA-17.
All right, well, Denise, why don't you next time just go back to your supervisor and say, hey, side A says supervisor. Who do you think's supposed to fill that out?
Yeah.
If you're not a fan of sarcasm like I am, just say, hey, would you please fill that out since you happen to be the supervisor?
Yeah, and if not, do what Chris said in the black Sharpie with the doctor so the doctor can do that.
Or you can say, look, supervisor, I don't want to cause any trouble here. I just want to do my job, and I'm not looking for any extra problems. But if you don't fill this out like it says you're supposed to, my doctor is going to get a Sharpie and write that you refuse to fill it out. Would you please just fill it out so the doctor won't do that? Let them know what's going to happen and get it filled out. The doctor needs that. When the side A is not filled out, the doctor has a hard time knowing what restrictions to write. So it's really important that the supervisor write your job duties on there, There are physical duties on there, so the doctor knows what to restrict. It's a medical form. It's meant for the doctor to, help you get better in a safe way so you don't get hurt at work. Again, or worse.
Yeah, you guys are saying, well, what's your name? Ashley. You said you were not given a copy of your CA1, but your case was approved. That's fine.
Hey, that's great.
And no one ever told you about a CA17. It was your physical therapist from some other federal clinic, which is fine, but they all should come from your supervisor.
Yeah, the CA17 needs to originate with the supervisor. There's a reason supervisor is side A and the doctor is side B.
So your physical therapy can't fill out side B.
The doctor
first. And they can't fill it out.
Well, they can fill it out, but the medical doctor has to sign it.
Well, yeah, but
a physical therapist can't sign that form either.
They won't know what your limitations are if side A isn't filled out.
Correct.
So, Okay. I have an approved CA2 case. Great. I was assigned a DOL nurse whom is meeting me in my next appointment. She says I don't have to let her go in the room. What's that all about? And with that, somebody else said, do we have to allow assigned nurse case managers to accompany us at the doctor?
No. So the doctor is required to communicate with the nurse case manager that is involved in your case. But you are not required to let that nurse case manager go into a private medical visit with your doctor. Instead, the doctor can schedule a second time to see the nurse case manager. Okay, that's your right. Another thing that is your right that most people don't know is it's your right to write a letter removing your nurse case manager from your case. Sometimes nurse case managers generally have really good intentions and they're there to make sure things are going smoothly for you. Their job is to help you get back to work, to communicate with the doctor, to be sort of a bridge between the doctor and management so they understand what's going on. But sometimes there's a bad apple in the nurse case manager group and they come in and they break all the rules. I know nurse case managers that have pulled patients out of a doctor's office and said, you can't be here. You have to go to another office. That's against the rules. Yeah. I know a nurse case manager, at least one, that is trying to overrule a medical doctor. Okay, the medical doctor is the medical doctor. The nurse case manager is not. So, also, if at any time you feel like your nurse case manager is not acting in your best interest, you have a right to write a letter and have them removed. I don't know that that's always a good idea, but it's never a good idea to let people push you around and do things that you think are not good for you. Okay, so that's important for you to know.
Yeah, Ashley, my COP was accepted. How do I get my sick and AL back?
Okay, so if your COP is automatically accepted if you have a CA1 claim that's reported within 30 days. The question is your case accepted? Because if your OWCP claim is accepted, you get your sick and annual leave back by filling out a CA7 claim for compensation, probably a CA7A, which is a time analysis form which allows you to account for your time, and a CA7B, which is a leave buyback form. All of these forms are available on my website, federalinjurycenters.com, centers with an S at the end. And you just follow the rules. There's an instruction sheet on all these forms. Are easy. And just in case, we have some videos on our website. There's a videos tab that's how to fill out these forms. Mm-hmm. So if you need help with that, my partner Tom went through every box on the form to explain it, okay, on all these forms. So go check those out. We put them there because we know it's complicated and a lot of people have trouble with the CA7, the whole thing, the process of getting paid. And so we put that there to help you fill the forms out appropriately so you can get paid.
Yeah. All right, so we saved the best for last. All of you want to know, once your claim gets accepted, how do you get paid? And a lot of you have been messaging, emailing, saying, you have been sending those things in that I've been telling you to attach to your CA7, and you're still not getting paid. So please write this down. This is very important on the things you must do to comply with DOL and also to make sure it's all in order to get your money back, your time back, whatever it is that you guys lost. And yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to really deal with leave buyback here because I just explained it. Okay, you go back, you fill the forms out, including the CA7B leave buyback form, and you turn it in. I want to talk more about the documentation needed to go along with this stuff, because a lack of documentation is an automatic denial of payment. So, you'll be expecting to get paid, and instead you'll get a letter in the mail that says it was denied. All right, so the first thing we want to do is avoid the denial. And so let's talk about that. When you want to get paid after your claim is approved, because until your claim is approved, you have no rights. Okay, you have the right to appeal, you have the right to, get treatment with your, own health insurance, but you really don't have any rights until your claim's approved. You don't have the right to get reimbursed on mileage. You don't have the right to get reimbursed on time. You don't have the right to get reimbursed on money you paid. You don't have a right to be off of work and paid for LWOP. You have no rights until your claim's approved. So understand that step one is get your claim approved. If it's not, that's the reason you're not getting paid. So stop there, get your claim approved. But for all of the others, when claims are approved, that's what I'm talking to now. Claims got to be approved. All right. Once your claim's approved, you fill these forms out if you need time off. I want to say this, though. The surest way to get paid is to clock in. The surest way to get paid is to be able to go to work. So I've had people that have, and not often, thankfully, but have told doctors that I know, hey, can you write time off work because I want to just take a week off, or, I want to go on vacation. That's bad.
Nope.
It's bad news. You will not get paid for that time, okay? And your doctor can get in trouble, and you can get in trouble. Your inspector general is going to be looking for that stuff, so just don't. Avoid doing anything that you think in the end could come back on you. So, the surest way to get paid is to be on the clock. Sometimes you just can't, okay? Or sometimes you just can't finish a day, and so you're restricted in time, and you're working half days or, some portion of a full day. And that's because medically the doctors decided, look, based on everything I know, you really just can't do this. Okay. So assuming you just can't be on the clock, because that's where nobody argues about paying you, then when you're off, you fill out a CA7, a claim for compensation. And if you're not off for consecutive days, or if you work a portion of a day, also fill out a time analysis form, the CA7A. So these two forms together, you fill them out perfectly. Like I said, I've got videos on my website that'll show you how to fill it out perfectly. So watch those. But once you have perfectly filled out CA7 and CA7A, if you send that in without documentation, you're going to get a denial.
Yep. On
a beautiful, perfectly filled out form, it's a denial. So you have to attach some things. I'm going to tell you what I know that you attach, but then let's talk about it. So I came across, a couple of years ago, a training module that was intended to be training for supervisors. There's some PowerPoint presentation. And in it, there was a slide that says, with a CA7, attach a CA20, which is like a medical narrative form. The doctor fills that out. And the CA20 describes your medical condition, your prognosis, and so forth. You also then need to attach a CA17, the duty status report. So if your doctor has taken you off of work, attach the CA17. Don't assume that the claims examiner has seen it just because it's been sent to them in the past. Attach that form. So you're attaching a 17 and a 20, signed by your medical doctor. If it's signed by a nurse practitioner, a PA, or a physical therapist, they're not valid. So it's got to be signed by your MD. And then, if you're out of work because you're at the doctor's office, you're at therapy, or you had to get an MRI, get a printout of an appointment for that day, or all the appointments for the period of time that you're filling out a CA7 for, and have it signed by the person that you were seeing, the doctor, the therapist, or whatever. Anytime you're at a medical appointment, get a printout of that appointment and attach it. Okay, it's very important. Prove where you're at, and that proves it. Signed by the doctor. But then here's the frustrating part. Nowhere in the rules does it say that you also need a medical narrative written by the doctor explaining why you're off of work. But now they're requiring it. We started seeing that in the last year, where denials were coming to people because they didn't have a narrative by the doctor. They attached all this paperwork, but the doctor didn't write a report explaining why you're off of work. So you got to have that. It's not in the rules, but it's in the denials. So make sure that you also get a letter from your doctor. It can just be a simple paragraph explaining why you need to be off of work. Why you were only working half days, or why you only went into work 2 hours a day, 3 days a week, whatever the restrictions are. But explaining exactly why that's necessary, okay? and attach that as well. So now you've got a CA-17, CA-20, a printout of the reports signed by the doctor, and a narrative report explaining why you're off of work. So we've been teaching this for quite a while now. People are having a higher success rate at getting paid, but some people still get denials. And so they're telling us, I'm attaching all this stuff and I'm not getting paid. What's going on? The truth is I don't know yet, because the rule says what it says. So we're following the rule, plus adding the narrative report that's not in the rule, and denials are still happening. So what we need is when you start getting CA7s denied, I'd like to see your denial letters. Because when they deny you, they send a letter that says specifically this is denied because. And when it says specifically your claim for compensation is denied because, and they'll tell you why. You always have a chance to fix that. So when you start getting denials, let's see them. Okay, let's talk about it. Let me see what claims examiners are telling you, because we've got different claims examiners in different regions of the country that don't know each other. And you may have like the northwestern region of the country is doing something that the southeastern region isn't. So let's see what claims examiners are doing, and let's do something about it, because doing nothing is not the answer. There's always a solution. So if you attach the 4 things I told you to attach, okay, that goes above and beyond the rules as it is, and you still get denied, let's look at it. Maybe the narrative report was crap. Maybe it was signed by a nurse practitioner. I don't know. Who knows? Okay, maybe the supervisor wrote a letter. Let's know about it. And the denial letter you receive is going to explain why they didn't pay you. Then we can respond to that and get you paid. So everyone do me the favor. When you get a denial for a CA7, send me the denial letter, and let's start compiling some data so we can fix this nationwide. Because not getting paid is a serious problem that I'm losing my tolerance for, maybe as much as you are. What questions are we getting?
Yeah, Stevie says, I've been denied 2 times for pay on a specific day. I can send you what they wrote. Yeah. Send it to us.
Just scan or take a picture of the letter and email it to us, or send it by Facebook Messenger, whatever. And let's take a look at it. And also, while I'm reading, I'll tell you what to do.
Yeah.
So while I'm reading your letter, I'll help you fix it.
Tabitha said, I'm told that I have to send my CA7 and CA7A to Injury Comp, and they send it to OWCP. Can I send my info straight to Department of Labor?
That's an excellent question. So here's the rule. You're supposed to submit it to your supervisor because they have to fill out page 2. And then from there, they have 5 days to submit that to DOL by rule. What I would do if I was you is I would keep a copy of everything you give to them, including all the documentation, and give them everything. But keep a copy and e-comp it yourself, including that second page that the supervisor has to fill out. Just in case, let's be sure, and send it in twice if that's what it takes. But if that's what you're being required to do, follow the rules.
Yeah. Samara said, for a case I had approved, I was missing intermediate days for pain before a surgery. I had a letter from my doctor saying I needed to be off due to pain, but my claims examiner said that was not enough.
That's right.
Since it was already at work, I had established I could work and to miss because of pain wasn't accepted.
Yeah, so that's actually standard. Pain is not acceptable. It's not an acceptable diagnosis. A claims examiner is going to say, yeah, you have pain, but what's causing the pain? And why is the pain causing you to be off of work? So in that case, the doctor has to go back and write a new narrative or revise the old one explaining why, as a result of pain, you shouldn't go back to work. Maybe the issue wasn't that you were having pain. Maybe the issue was you're having pain because you had an unstable joint that, if doing that job, was going to be made worse before surgery. Have the doctor explain that. So that's all you need to do. On that case, the doctor needs to go back and address that denial. Show that to the doctor and say, hey, address this so I can get paid. And so I'm going to spend a minute talking about reconsiderations.
I was just about to say that.
Any denial that you receive, it doesn't matter for what, whether you're a denied claim, denied payment on a CA7, all denials you have a chance to appeal. So they come with this form called an appeal request form. And on that form, it's got 4 options. I'm going to ignore 3 of them and just talk about reconsideration. That's one of the options. It's the only option you should ever choose.
Yep.
I had a heckler like a few years ago who came on LinkedIn and said, what are you doing? Why are you teaching this? And I was really nice back and, explaining it. And she comes back and she goes, well, do you know about ECAB? And I said, I know about ECAB, but what I really know about is getting things accepted so you don't need ECAB. So that's what we're talking about here. Don't go to ECAB. Don't do an oral hearing. Don't do a review of the written record, okay? Those are going to waste your time, and you're going to end up with the same denial you had. Instead, do reconsideration for 2 reasons. One, you have 12 months from the denial to request reconsideration. It's the only one that gives you that kind of a window. So it's really hard to miss the window. It's 12 months. And the other thing that's really great is it's the only one that will allow new information to be submitted. And so your new information comes from your doctor reading the denial letter and addressing it with a narrative. So that new narrative is new information. The doctor submits that and they have to review it and consider it. And usually upon reconsideration, you can get these things overturned. And the other thing, as a bonus, is there's an unlimited amount of times you can do reconsideration. There's no rule that says after 3 you're finished. As long as you request reconsideration and you have new information within 12 months of each denial, they will continue to reconsider it.
Correct.
New information, which always comes from the doctor addressing the narrative or the denial letter, and file within 12 months. So it's not over if you get a denial. Any denial is worth reconsidering and winning. And any denial that is reconsidered by using the doctor writing a narrative addressing that denial letter should be won.
Tammy said, but what is all you have left is ECAB?
Well, if all you have left is ECAB, that means you've decided never to do a reconsideration again, and you can do an infinite number of those. And at that point, you do it. And I don't like saying this, but you may need a lawyer at that point. That's extreme. It's really extreme. Definitely very extreme. Your MBAs, if you're a letter carrier with NALC, they'll help you with your ECAB, which is a really great benefit to you because you don't have to pay them. So if you can find someone to help represent you, that'd be great. I'd rather you not have to pay for this. Our lawyer friend would tell you the exact same thing. If you can avoid it, it's better. And the best way to avoid ECAB is to understand your rights on reconsideration and have the doctor write really great narrative reports on your reconsideration so you can get it approved and not ever need an ECAB.
Yeah, I know some of you are asking for my email, so it's Gini, Gini, at federalinjurycenters.com, and you want to send your denial. Please just don't send the denial because we're going to read it and wonder what your question is. Ask your question so we could respond back. You have to give me a little bit because my email tomorrow morning will definitely be filled. So I'm going to go down as I get them. So
yeah, and for those of you that are new and those of you that are have been here for a while and just super impatient, like me, I'm very impatient, so I understand you. We get a lot of messages. We get a lot of comments on Facebook. We get a lot of emails. She gets an ungodly number of phone calls. So be patient. All right, we're not ignoring you if we haven't gotten to you and it feels like, gosh, that was 2 weeks ago. Seriously, we're not ignoring you. We're working our tail off trying to help you. So try to understand. Feel free and send us a second email or anything, whatever. It's not a pain. Like today, somebody said, a friend of mine that I work with tried to get a hold of you and didn't hear from you. Well, okay, on this one, he actually hadn't called yet. This guy just didn't know. But my answer was, hey, that happens. I'm sorry. Can you please tell him to send me a text message because I desperately want to help. So don't get unhappy or mad at us. Just send us a second message. We're happy to help. We want to help everybody.
So tonight, our 2020 special edition, we covered a CA10, which all of you should always have a printout of a CA10 with you. Post it in your bulletin boards. Post it in your freaking bathrooms.
Ooh, on the back of the stalls.
That. Put one in your LLV, just,
fold one up and put it in your wallet,
anywhere,
your purse. Yeah.
Just so you understand the 5 things that you have to do when you get an injury. Yes, it's not CENTOS, it's centers. It's Gini at federalinjurycenters.com. Sorry. We went over the CA1. File a CA1 now versus filing a CA1 if you had something in the past that continues to happen. We went over the CA16 that a lot of you don't even know what the heck a CA16 is. Never got one until Chris starts talking about it.
And your supervisors aren't offering them up to you.
And they don't offer it. And
maximizing the pain for you is great for them because, they don't want you to report injuries anyways. So don't let that happen to you.
let's see, Samira said, when I called, I had 3 of you text or call within 24 hours. That was awesome.
Oh, good.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, and that I'm glad you said that. Thank you for that feedback. But sometimes you'll ask to speak to me, or I'll get a voicemail, and I generally will forward those to Jennifer, and you'll get a call from a 940 area code. Pick it up, because Jennifer is excellent. She works with us, and she is easily one of the top 3 OWCP minds in the country. So, if not the number 1, which is hard for me to say, because I want that to be me. But she's excellent.
She is great.
She's very, very good. If she calls you, don't be upset with her if she seems like she's kind of being short.
She's not.
She's on the ball, and she knows what she's talking about. So if you call me and I don't have the time, I don't want you to wait for me. So I'll typically send it to Jennifer and ask her to call you back. Okay, so when you get a call from Jennifer, just know you're in really great hands. You're for sure going to be taken care of.
And then we went over the CA-17, what we told you if the supervisor doesn't fill out side A, what to do versus when the doctor fills out side B. And then we told you the 4 things to attach to your CA-7 to get paid, how to get paid.
And if you continue to get denied after that, send me the denial letter. It does 2 things. First and foremost, it helps me help you. And number 2, it gets me some data to compile so that I can teach the nation on what to do.
Yeah. So, and then the CA-7s and the email, Gini@federalinjurycenters.com. Tell me what the issue is. Send your denial letter or send the letter that states why you're not getting paid so we could help you. And just so you guys know, I'm going to throw out the doctors that Chris has trained, because a lot of you are antsy and can't find a doctor. Number 1, we tell you to go to the ACS website. It's retarded, but what you have to do is go on DOL ACS. Once you get there, you click accept, you click FICA, you go to the left, you click provider search, and then you put in physician MD and your state. And you must call all these doctors, ask for the billing manager, and ask them if they take federal work comp, because the front desk girls don't know, because they get state workers comp and then federal workers comp. And I actually did this while I was at my orthos the other day, and they said, yeah, we take it, but they don't take federal work comp.
Or they don't know what OWCP means. Correct. And they never heard of DOL. So talk to the billing manager, because they definitely know what they accept, because they get paid with it.
So when I list the doctors, this is all we have, this is all we've trained, and that's that. There is no more. If I don't say your state, there is not one there until we franchise as it's moving along.
In the next few months. And don't be mad at us. It's so...
Somebody got mad at us.
Yeah, I feel really bad for you when there's not a doctor near you. But it's not my fault. Look, I only can help the ones that agree to get helped. I can't make them do it. I wish I could. I'm trying.
I had a guy text me.
By the way, this is Gizmo. He's the OWCP mascot.
Why does he seem like he's going in water?
Yeah, when we put him in water, his legs come up.
Follow Gizmo_Helms on Instagram. You'll see his cute photos.
In a minute, you're probably going to hear digging in the carpet. And so I just wanted you to see what that noise is going to be. There's nothing under the carpet, but he's going to dig anyway. Say bye.
So here's all the doctors Chris has trained. We train them. What they do in their office doesn't reflect back on Chris and I. It's their office. We only do the training.
But let me know, because I can get a hold of them faster than anybody else and make them stop it.
Yes, we are going larger and further. So this year we are attempting that. So.
Well, I'm sorry. I keep interrupting. Going larger and further, absolutely. But that's not for me. I'm just responding to your needs. Like, you need doctors. And it's been hard for me to get them to say yes. And so giving them a Federal Injury Centers franchise, I'm hoping, will help them say yes. And I'm rolling out some excellent automated training tools to help train a mass number of doctors all at once. And so just, hang in there. I can't make any promises because I can't make these doctors do this stuff. But the ones that she's about to tell you about, are incredible. Okay? we don't get denied claims. And when we get denied claims, we fix them. So they end up getting approved. So anyways, go ahead.
Let me just go over this question. It's really important from Mr. Oranga. Is a verbal authorization for treatment by a supervisor for emergency injuries still requires them to provide a CA-16 within 4 hours? Post office claims they have 48 hours if they give a verbal authorization.
That's not in the rules. Sometimes they just make some stuff up. Get on Twitter, at Fed Injury Center, at the @ Fed Injury Center, and just go ahead and take the CA-16 regulations and show it to them. I don't understand. What's the problem? Look, they have 48 hours to do it. 4 hours and 48 hours is kind of the same when it comes to filling out a form. Once you start filling it out, you're done in 2 minutes. There's no reason to delay it 48 hours. A verbal authorization is okay. In an emergency situation, absolutely, that works. But you need a CA-16 for all the other doctors you're going to go see, and for the MRIs, and for the pharmacy. You know, that verbal authorization is great for the ER, okay? But you need the CA-16. And so you have a right to get it. And the Code of Federal Regulations says 4 hours. It doesn't say 4 hours unless there's some verbal authorization, and then you get 48.
Okay, again, they're the only doctors we know of. You will have to go on ACS if you can't get to one of these. So, we have a doctor in Houston, Texas. Not we. I mean, we trained one, so when I say that, excuse me.
We have trained a doctor.
Yeah. Houston, Texas, Dr. On. Tucson, Arizona, Dr. Heaton. There's also Dr. Ellis in Oklahoma that Chris knows very well.
I know him well, but this is like,
we didn't train him.
He's like the godfather of OWCP.
Yeah.
Nobody's been doing it longer than Dr. Ellis. I believe in him. I trust him.
Okay, and then there's Racine, Wisconsin, Dr. Say, Hoffman Estates, Chicago, Dr. Patron.
Hoffman Estates, Illinois.
Illinois, Chicago, it's all the same thing. I'm a part of their team, so if you need to get in with Dr. Patron's office in Illinois, contact me. Indianapolis, Indiana, Dr. Terry Toll. Rockville, Maryland, Dr. Weinberg. Vienna, Virginia, Dr. What's their name? I'm so sorry, in Vienna.
Yvonne.
Dr. Yvonne.
She actually has a big group of doctors.
Yeah. And so we have
North Carolina,
Dr. Roosevelt Smith.
and Greensboro.
And then we have Dr. Osler in West Palm Beach. I work for him. Dr. Newman in Miami, Florida. I work for him. Dr. DiTomaso in Fort Myers. I work for him. And then we have our clinic, Federal Injury Centers of Clearwater, with Dr. Rashamwala and Dr. Kammerman. Now, all the Florida clinics, just so you guys know, Dr. Kammerman is our star MD in all the Florida clinics.
Nobody's gotten more OWCP claims approved than Dr. Kammerman in the history of OWCP. So we don't mess with a good thing. He works in all the offices.
Raymond, I'm sorry. I killed your last name. And the last place we have are 3 locations in Norwood, Massachusetts, Woburn, Massachusetts, and Quincy, Massachusetts with Dr. Guido.
Oh, you forgot Birmingham.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How can I forget? One of my favorite states. And Birmingham, Alabama / Montgomery with Dr. Harper and Dr. Alexander.
That's right.
That's it. If I didn't say your state, we don't have a doctor there. We didn't train one because you guys are saying, what about Oregon? What about Michigan?
No, hey, we hear you.
We are coming.
We're working on it. You have no idea how bad I want it. You have no idea how bad I want to have a trained doctor in every single state. So, you know, I feel your pain.
We're coming. That's it. That's all the doctors Chris has trained. That's all the doctors we have for Federal Injury Centers. And we're coming. This is why we're franchising. So please sit tight. We understand that it's not easy. But those of you that are in the New England states, come to our Boston location. At least go see Dr. Guido to get your claim accepted. Those of you that are in maybe Louisiana or Tennessee or Georgia, go see Dr. Harper We can get you, and those of you everywhere else, come see us in Boston or Clearwater.
Now, with that said, in all seriousness, it's easy to talk about the doctors that I've trained and the doctors that we're directly associated with. That's easy, okay? And when you go there, you're going to get claims accepted at a very high rate, okay? This 1 out of 15 junk, that's just trash, right? That's not how we work, okay? Our motto is no more denied claims, and we live it. It's a mission. With that said, you can go to Google, wherever you're at, Idaho, Iowa, North Dakota, like I said last time, and you can Google a search, OWCP injury doctor in your city and state, and maybe something will come up. I can't guarantee it, but that's one way to search for a doctor. If they want to be found, they will be using that search, OWCP injury doctor, city and state. The other thing is she's been mentioning ACS. ACS is the web bill processing portal. It's the very last place in the world you would ever imagine to go to do a provider search. But there goes Gizmo. He's digging.
He's digging for gold and carpet.
Under the carpet. He does it on tile too. That's funny. So if you could see him right now, you'd stop listening to me and just... Anyways, all right. Oh. ACS, the web bill processing portal. If you just go to Google and search OWCP ACS, it'll be the first thing that pops up on Google. Scroll down, there's a provider search. Click it, go through all the nonsense. It's very hard to get through the next 4 pages if you don't understand what you're doing. And then you have a chance to search. But then you're going to get potentially, a multi-page list of doctors that you have to start calling. And almost all of them are going to say, what's OWCP? I don't take OWCP. I don't take workers' comp. And I don't care if it's federal workers' comp. Most of them say no. Many of them don't even know why they're listed there. They had some person in their office getting them credentialed with Blue Cross and Aetna, United Healthcare, and said, oh, what's this Department of Labor thing, and did that too. The doctor doesn't want it. They're not trained in it. They have no idea what's going on in it. So be careful, okay? That's why she said ask the billing person if they understand what's going on. Ask some probing questions. Do you take a CA-16? Will you fill out a CA-17? Does the doctor write good narratives?
Ask.
It's worth interviewing the doctor. Do you know what you're doing? But those are other ways that you can find a doctor. It's not available yet, but it's about a week away at this point, maybe less.
Let me talk about it.
No, I'm not talking about that. Okay. Thanks. All right. I'm developing a provider search portal so that you have a way to find doctors wherever you're at, whether they're associated with federal injury centers or not, won't be relevant to me. What will be relevant is that they can answer those questions that I said you should be asking. And so I'll be having my staff going down the list on ACS, literally in every state, and saying, do you take OWCP? Do you take CA-16s? Do you take CA-17s? Do you write narrative reports? And if they say yes to those things, we're going to say you're in luck, because people in your area want to find you and they can't. And so we're going to get them listed in our provider portal. And once that's up and running, we'll start promoting that to you. And you can go on periodically and search. Right away, it won't be populated with hundreds of doctors. It'll right away be populated with 24 doctors, okay? But it's a start. Again, I'm addressing your concerns. Your biggest problem is you can't find a doctor who knows how to do this or who will accept it. So I'm going to solve that problem. The next biggest problem is once you find a doctor, they don't know how to get a claim accepted, right? So I'm going to solve that problem. And we're going to solve it in a way that it's never even been thought of before. And it's a huge undertaking. And like my dad says, go big or go home. So we're going to go big. You need the help. So this is what's coming. And she's got something she wants to talk to you about. That if I tell you about it, I sleep on the couch.
Well, Gizmo sleeps on the couch. He'll be below Gizmo. No. 2 things. Next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will be in Chicago. We are coming for the Chicago or Illinois Rural Carrier State Convention, State Convention. Mm-hmm. So we look forward to seeing all of our rural carriers in Illinois and getting to meet you guys, new faces, new people. And I know you guys are going to ask this question. I don't know how you get to go to the convention. I think you have to put in time. We don't know. We just show up and we do our thing. Chris will be doing a 2.5-hour training.
2.5?
Or with questions. in detail training. You guys will be provided with the manual that he trains from. Your union will give it to you the day we're going to do the training. Plus, we'll be there with OWCP brochures. We'll have some stuff if you wanted to find out about Dr. Patron, his office information, and we will answer one-on-one questions while we're there. So,
and if you're in that area, you do want to get information about Dr. Patron.
Yeah, because he's a
machine
gun doctor.
He's a gladiator.
And hasn't gotten a denied claim yet in the last, 2-3 years that he's been doing this?
Yeah, in the 3 years that he's been working using our system, he bats 1,000. No kidding. He's a gladiator.
Yeah.
This guy is a fighter. So you definitely want to know about him. But that's not why we're there. We're not coming to sell his office. We're coming to teach you about OWCP.
So those of you that come, you do get a packet that we train nationwide with. And those of you that are not part of the roll carriers and want to stop by,
please stop by.
Stop by and come say hi to us, and we'll
take a selfie.
Yeah, take a selfie. Hashtag when Federal Injury Centers, and come get some material and pass it amongst your other agencies that you work for. Yeah. I will I will post where we're going to be, the name of the hotel, because that's where we'll be as of Friday, which is Chris's 45th birthday next Friday, and we're going to the Windy City, Chicago.
I am traveling to train you on my birthday.
So come out and wish him happy birthday. Come celebrate with us. Also, our app is almost done. We're going to make a grand announcement when it comes out. You get to go
this week
on the Android and iPhone and search Federal Injury Centers. It'll be our little logo that we have. It'll say Federal Injury Centers. And we're so excited because it's going to have so much stuff that you guys could have on your phones with you 24 hours a day, 7 days of the week. Forms, questions,
rules,
links to Facebook. You don't have to have a Facebook page. So those of you that don't have Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, you can just click that and it'll take you to our Wednesday night page and you'll get an automatic notification. You still have to like and follow.
It's got a great OWCP checklist for what to do when you're hurt. It's much more extensive than the CA-10, but it's an easy to understand format. I want to explain this.
Yeah.
So when it comes online, okay, which should be honestly tomorrow, Friday.
Yes.
From there, it'll take about a week for it to show up in the Google Play Store for Android, and it takes 7 to 21 days to show up in Apple in the App Store. Nothing we can do about that. Apple takes longer. But we'll stay at it and we'll let you know. Of course, I'm going to be searching every day until I find it. And as soon as I find it, I'll know that it's live in both places, and we'll come back on and do just a quick update, letting you know it's there.
We'll even do one of our phones where we download it.
Yeah, so we want you to just be aware that's coming out. Everybody that can hear this needs to be getting it and sharing it with your friends. Let everyone know. The purpose of this thing is to take a huge dent out of the OWCP denial problem. And this is going to help. Okay, we're going to prevent denied claims by just getting good information out there.
Yeah.
It's not a sales tool. It is an information tool for you.
Yeah, and, this is going to be another great year, 2020. We're going to get deep into these conventions and these union meetings and these maybe national conventions. Hint, hint.
Waiting on a phone call.
So, we are doing all that we can to help end the denied epidemic of denied claims. We're just trying to end this. It's crazy. And like Chris said earlier, and when he was doing his stats, for some odd reason, the denied claim went up.
It got worse.
Even though there was X amount of you that got your claims approved last year with all the doctors that Chris has trained. So it's not easy. And always remember one thing. It's not OWCP that's denying you because they just feel like denying you. You're just going to random doctors that don't know how to write a report. They're not going to accept a word with pain. You could be in pain anywhere.
Pain is not a diagnosis.
So, you have to go to a trained OWCP doctor, or if it's not trained, one that actually knows what the heck they're talking about. Yeah. And, no more denials, exactly. but we look forward into getting to 5,000 followers so I could do my little Instagram thing and balloons and
500,000.
Yeah. And next week we're ready to come to Chicago. At least I am going to get some snow in my system again.
I'm just going to do my thing.
Celebrate
I don't remember what movie it was. I'm going to go lay my thing down on a stage doing OWCP. We'll see how it goes.
The big 4-5. We're going to celebrate the big 4-5 in Chicago.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
No doctors in New York.
It's unbelievable. Look, New York and California, two of the most highly populated states in the country, and not a single doctor claims to be an OWCP doctor. If I was a medical doctor, with all the marketing knowledge that I have, I'd go into one of those states and I would completely bury everybody else. I'd put all the other doctors on page 5 of Google. I'd make them invisible.
Yeah. And
it would be easy. I'd barely even have to get out of bed to do it.
We are coming.
Because they're just not trying.
We are coming to New York.
It's so frustrating. So we're going to try to help doctors see the value in helping you and then get them to promote themselves so that you can find them. It's ridiculous.
Just so you guys are aware, I know you guys have a lot of questions on this. Next week we're going to explain and go over in depth more about FCEs, MMI, and schedule award. Those 3 things. I know you guys have a lot of questions. But those of you that are going to watch this after, don't forget to hashtag replay in the comments. CA10, CA1, CA2, CA16, 17, and the CA7 is everything we went over.
Yeah.
Share this video, like and follow us so you can get the weekly notifications when we go live. And with that said...
I got more.
What? Okay.
Just kidding. We have 10 more minutes. So, I want to recap a couple of things. Number 1, if you don't have Twitter, get with the program and get Twitter. It's free. Go into the Google Play Store, into the App Store if you have an iPhone, and get it. It's so important. Don't follow anybody else but me, and I'm not making a joke. If you follow anybody else, you're going to end up with this news feed that's more chaotic than your Facebook news feed. Don't do that. Okay, I'm only posting relevant things as they come along. I'm not daily posting anything. Oftentimes, weeks will pass between one post and the next. I only post things that are valuable to you. And if I come across it, and I haven't ever posted it before, I put it there. So you need to get on Twitter so you have instant access to the most valuable information you're ever going to find in OWCP. I assure you, nobody you know is teaching this stuff that I'm teaching. Nobody. And I'm taking it and I'm putting it on Twitter for the whole world to have. Okay? I'm not saying, hey, this is mine, don't share it. I want you to share it with everybody. Okay? So get on Twitter at Fed Injury Center and then go to work tomorrow and show it to your friends and say, what the heck are you doing? Get on Twitter at Fed Injury Center. We need to multiply this thing. It needs to have explosive growth if we're going to stop this bad trend of denied claims. I don't know at this moment another way to get the information to you. All the ways that I've ever thought of are happening. Okay, we're doing them. If I can think of another way, I'll do that too. But the best way to spread the word is for you to spread the word.
Yeah.
I'm doing this thing.
Help someone else.
That's right. You do your thing and share it. It's so simple. And you're doing somebody a favor. Do 10 people a favor. Okay, do 10 people a favor every day until they get sick of hearing about it and say, okay, fine, I'll do it. But get Twitter, at Fed Injury Center. The other thing is follow this page. Wednesday night OWCP chats. We do this every week, Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Every week it's generally 1 hour, not 2. This has kind of been like a marathon. We'll typically take a couple of little topics and we'll teach those for an hour and we'll answer some questions and move on.
Without charging you.
Without charging you. Stick around, you'll see. We'll never ask for money.
And those of you ladies, Derek said, I'm always happy to talk or text with you to answer any of your questions. Call him at 2 a.m. I'm adding that in.
Or 2:30.
Call Derek at 2:30 a.m. at 781-414-1715. There's Derek. Jennifer put her number on there too. Yep, call Jennifer. So
don't call Jennifer at 2 a.m. She's got kids.
But Derek, he's got a doggy.
Yeah.
So with that said, everyone.
Well, Derek has a daughter too.
Yes, I know, but I'm just saying.
But I'm just saying she has little kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
She has teeny weeny kids.
Yeah.
Derek has a daughter that's taller than me and she's only 9 or something like that. Anyway, guys, thank you again for watching our 2-hour 2020 special. We will go back over within the next couple days and read the stuff that you guys posted. Oh, Mimi King said 3 a.m. Hey, 2 o'clock,
Hey,
2:30, 3 a.m. Call Derek.
Hey, for all you mail handlers out there, call on your break at work.
Yes.
We know you're working through the night. We appreciate you. You make it possible for our carrier to bring the mail to our door.
Yes.
So you're doing a great job.
We love our
Call them on
letter
your
carriers.
breaks.
We love our USPS. We love our AFGE. We love all of our federal friends and family. And we look forward to a fantastic 2020 with all the new conventions, state conventions, everything coming up.
And you rural carriers, I know you're going to pull through and get us invited to your national convention this year. I just know you will.
Hey, we just got invited for 2021. I'm just letting you guys know. It is January, but we got invited for 2021 at a state convention. So
we're booking up.
We're already booking
fast.
up. So again, if you want us to come to your union meeting, state convention, please have someone from your union call me, 877-787-OWCP, or send me an email at Gini@federalinjurycenters.com so we can get that taken care of. We are already 8 or 9 in already for this 2020 and already 1 for 2021. So we look forward to that. And with that said, I'm Gini Helms.
And I'm Chris Helms.
And that was 2020. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Good night.